Tyler, Sacred Spaces of Care. Saturday night might be for fighting, but Friday mornings are for learning about Megan Tyler and all that she's working on. Hey, we haven't talked in a while. That's my fault, really.
No, all good. We're good.
And how's everything been?
Busy. Very good. Very good. I mean, lots to be grateful for. Things have been going wonderfully. Police department partnership, super good. Lots of engaging of individuals in the community that are experiencing crisis, working a lot with our unhoused population. We've been growing and developing the board of directors of Sacred Spaces, kind of diversifying some more. We brought on some new people, hiring some staff. I'm not a solo show anymore.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I know,
Good
right? Right? That's very, very encouraging. So yeah, we had started a while back and brought on a social worker who also does a lot of our grant management and things. But now we're actually have a job posted right now. So if anyone's interested in a community resource navigator that we're hiring, got a couple peer coordinators through the police department for some of our first responder suicide prevention work. And so we're growing. It's, we knew it's a significant need in the community.
Big
and
one.
So in order to address it, we need people to do so. So
Now,
we're getting there.
And what I think is cool, too, is just last year, it seems like there's some really specific organizations that have been popping up. And I mean that in a positive way, that really kind of targets a niche.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
does that kind of help with what Sacred Spaces does, too?
Absolutely. Because, remember in our early talks when I founded it, it was to find those gaps. It wasn't to duplicate what was already out there. And so I think we're starting to come around with that. Like, we have found kind of our niche that we're wanting to stick within, and that's kind of that navigational piece and kind of that resource hub. And the goal all along was to never really become a provider of services to be that linkage. And so now when we have those supports, in place through various other organizations, it's perfect. And so, yeah, we like to see that happening for sure.
Well, that's really cool. Speaking of other organizations, they kind of form a collective. And now
Yes.
fill me in on the Care
Yes.
Collective. This is newer?
Yeah, brand new. We just launched it this week. Absolutely. So one of my board members, a couple of them actually are therapists. One of them is the owner of Calm Waters Counseling and Resource Center here in Alton. We had this idea to form this collective really at the onset of Sacred, and it's just taken a while for us to get to this point in this space at least. So what we've done with this collective is Sacred is really just serving as like a resource referral hub. So obviously we already have had for months people contacting us wanting to see how they can get into therapy services of some kind, right? And many times those individuals are in what we would consider more acute crisis, maybe suicidal, maybe, a little more extreme, significant needs.
Not to cut you, but is that like manic too, like where we have kind of that moment?
Yeah,
okay.
Psychosis, maybe substance-induced.
Okay.
And so obviously we're already referring a lot to, Centerstone, Chestnut, some of our larger providers that have hospitalization options and outpatient, intensive options and substance use options. But we also wanted to focus on a lot of needs that are not quite as significant, but we just need to find what therapy resources are available to us. And what you have to do as an individual right now, and I think we've talked about your background in this space, is you start making all the phone calls. Are you accepting clients, first of all? Do you take my insurance? If not, is there a sliding scale option? Is it affordable? What types of specialties do you offer? And so we're trying to help people not have to go through 10 or 12 different calls, but be able to contact us. And we have formed this collective where we know immediately, is there a wait list there? Can they take this person? Can they address this person's needs? Is the insurance accepted? So that, to eliminate, our goal for Sacred all along has been to reduce barriers. A barrier is anything that is potentially preventing someone from getting help, whether it's finances, transportation. But one barrier is just navigating the systems and making it happen.
Well,
and so,
not to cut you off, Megan, but when I talked to Centerstone, for the last 7 months, that's kind of what we were starting to really approach towards the end, because there were some where, you could call right away and get in there.
Correct.
But it's all about timing.
Yes.
And how important is it for you as an organization? Because to me, those 12 phone calls could make or break somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
it doesn't take 12. It might only be 1 or 2.
Right,
and we're
and
done,
that's a mountain.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
like, where do I even start?
It is, yeah. And I think that's what's good about this and what's good about our organization. We really are, a lot of people describe us as like a one-stop shop. Like, come here first as your first step. And then we're going to be able to know what kind of avenues to navigate you towards. We're still very much, it's your plan, it's your, decision, your pathway. We don't prescribe any specific, trajectory onto someone, but we can at least say, this is open to you, this is available, this one isn't, this one doesn't take this one's not eligible, whatever, to try to eliminate some of that stress in the moment.
How important is it, though, not to be the dictator in that situation?
Very, very. Now,
could you touch?
I will say, I will say that there is a lot of support that's needed.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
So being supportive while also not being the dictator or the prescriber of the plan. You don't want to enable, you cannot make decisions for people. You cannot convince people to go to treatment or to get help, right? So we know that. And so just being that safe space for them where you are non-judgmental, you're accepting, you are just, tell me your story, what you're about, what kind of goals do you have for yourself. So it's a supportive culture the entire time, but you're still letting them dictate their own path and be part of the process.
That's why I think this is so important too, because, it's one thing to direct people, like you said, and kind of say, here's what you're going to do and be the big brother.
Yeah.
But it's also another thing to have just those opportunities available. Because I think so many times it's not because individuals make the decision, not because it's because they want to be an addict,
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just because it's not right in front of their face saying there's help here.
Absolutely. And I think the difference is also coming alongside someone.
That's a good point.
And it being a sustainable relationship, because even when I'm in my office or wherever we're at, the park, whatever space, when we're calling, I'm not doing it for them. I don't have permission to speak to other providers on their behalf. Most of the time I'm saying, if you want to do this, would you like to make the phone call right now? And they're the ones on the phone that are actually initiating the process. And I'm just there as that supportive, person. And building that relationship and that rapport is so important, because you have to establish some trust. You have to understand the walk of life that they're in and, be relatable. And I think that's why the power of, lived experience and peers that we can bring alongside that is so important. We try to do that as often as we can.
Let me ask you this before. I saw something on your page, and I love what I'm getting ready to talk to you about. But how many times have you had somebody that truly said, I don't want to make that phone call? Is it more than I would think?
No, I think if we get to the point where where they're open and receptive to resources and we're in the process, then making the phone call is not very difficult. We do have individuals that just don't want to be about it at all. There are times when it's like, hey, I'm Megan, here's what we do. Are you interested? No, I'm okay right now. Or no, I've tried this. Or no. So, but sometimes, again, it's about the number of contacts. Yeah. So, okay, it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. Maybe we're on the 10th time that I've said, remember, I'm Megan, here's what I do. And then they finally are receptive. So that initial yes is the trickiest. Once they start something, then usually the navigating the phone calls, the intakes, whatever we need to do is a little easier. For them to
Well, it's honestly, it's to me like whenever your wife or husband says, hey, can you fix that drawer for the 10th time? Eventually you're going to, you just need a couple of conversations for it. Yeah. One thing that was we did on the show a couple weeks ago was talk to Christina Foster's Light in the Dark.
Yep, working with them. Yep.
Big supporter of this initiative. Yes. I think that Riverfront Park would be a wonderful spot to do this, or Gordon. Yeah. I think the Alton community could probably be a good place for this memorial.
Absolutely.
So are you going to be a part of this overdose awareness day event?
Yeah, I've known Christina pretty much since she got Foster's Light in the Dark going.
Oh, really?
We've been really good friends. Love her heart, her story.
Passion.
And so we kind of partnered with them on this project. I am working with her on some of this. So I created the tentative schedule that went out.
Okay.
And are doing some of the little marketing things for us. If you go to our Facebook page, I actually created the event, but it says hosted by Foster's Light in the Dark. So we're really making this a collaborative effort. And if you are unaware of that event, go check out our page or Foster's Light in the Dark. There's a Facebook event for it.
Let me be greedy. Or watch my interview with Christine.
Or watch your interview. But we just put out a tentative schedule, because a lot of people also I've had contacting saying what is this, and I want to come, but what do I expect when I get there as an overdose event, right? And so that tentative schedule is now out there, and it could be tweaked a little bit just based on timing. And then there's some organizations listed that are also some of the local Celebrate Recoveries and Amare, Task, Oxford House, NA, Chestnut, Madison County Drug Court. So it's also going to be at the start of the event, you're going to be able to visit all of those different resource booths and get information before we get into the actual vigil.
I'm proud of this one, because when Christina reached out to me, I thought this is such a unique opportunity because We always try to shy away from overdose deaths.
Correct.
And it's something we do as a society. It's not, interpersonal or anything.
Yeah.
So I think the more that we can kind of, I hate to say normalize it.
Yeah, but it is in a way normalizing it, though, because one of the goals that we have that I've talked with Christina about at this event is, this is a time to memorialize and honor those we've lost.
Okay, yeah.
But we're going to focus a lot on what to do with those of us that are still here. And we're going to focus a lot on, there's going to be a lot of people in recovery there. So it's also shedding hope and that spreading that hope. We're going to add up that night the amount of clean time that like everybody who's in attendance has.
Really?
And really kind of focus on, look, these resources are available. The best way we can honor those that we've lost is by living, right? Like being alive with what we have left and living life to the fullest and being grateful. And that's the message really of recovery. So
that's so cool. Yeah. We're going to take a quick pause. Megan ain't going anywhere. 9:27, a little bit of change on the 16th day of August. More of our daily show after this.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, Free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Riverbender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Welcome back, 9:30 on the nose. Megan Tyler back in studio on the 16th day of August. You know why I put the show on the 16th? It's the day Elvis died, and no one forgets that, you know?
Okay.
So, it's always on every year. So now I'm like, oh, and our daily show debuted. Megan, I'm seeing this wellness gathering in partnership with Feed the Hungry, which there's a lot of stuff happening on the 24th.
There is a lot. There's a lot.
Fill me in on this. So Saturday, August the 24th, 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. at Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church.
Yes.
That's at 1 East 6th Street in Alton. This is a really heavy event.
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone's aware, but Morningstar does the Feed the Hungry event once per month.
Do they really?
Typically the last Saturday. I think maybe August has 5 Saturdays, and so it's the 24th. So we just basically are partnering in conjunction with what they already had going, and I've been talking with them for a while about, hey, with you having the meal on those Saturdays. Let's kind of do more of like a street outreach type approach with that. And so I organized the wellness gathering that's going to bring in a variety of our local social service agencies and providers, just so as individuals are coming in receiving their meal that day, they're also able to visit the resource booths to get some care.
Cool.
You know, Chestnut's mobile unit, I'm super excited about because they're bringing a provider and a medical technician with them, so they can actually get potential medical services, especially, are connected with a general practitioner.
Just to follow up on that, you know so much more. You're on the ground, I mean, and you get this more than I do. How often is it that folks that are in that situation get to see a provider? Because when I saw that, to me, that was the most valuable component of this.
It's very rare. The mobile units, I know Chestnut has theirs. I know that Alt Memorial is going to be there that day with their mobile health and wellness. They don't have a provider. Sometimes they'll have, I think, either peer recovery specialists or maybe CNAs. I can't remember that come with them. So there's some very low level kind of like checking blood pressures or first aid type things. But with the provider there for Chestnut, that's huge. Doing a street outreach approach and going to the need is what Sacred's all about, and that's what's different about this. So.
Well, in some of my conversations, though, I've realized that it's not necessarily the mental health aspect of things.
Correct.
It's folks are actually sick and they need help.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when we do needs assessments with individuals, even though our organization tends to focus more on mental health and substance use and trauma-related things, we're always looking at physical health. We're always, connecting them with a general practitioner if they don't have one, or checking in on them to say, do you have a diagnosis? Do you have medication? Is there maybe a financial barrier that's keeping you from taking your medications prescribed, correctly? That's all a huge part of the physical health is all tied to the mental health side of it.
Well, and that's what goes back to this collective, though, because, and you can't just have one organization do it all. You can't.
No.
And we're all honest about it. You need to have a team.
Yeah.
With this collective, what does it really do for this region? Because, we get a lot of flack for a lot of different things, but we don't get the credit. I think Madison County, this Riverbend Metro East portion of the Illinois side of it anyway, has one of the strongest communities when it comes to overdose, awareness and substance use disorder treatment options. What are your thoughts on all of it?
I think the benefit of the collective and this concept is that we have to increase lines of communication and we have to collaborate in a healthy, effective way. I love what we have in this community. I love all of the resources available, but we do still, in some spaces, tend to work against ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's
why
what makes
that?
it difficult.
I hate to. That's a hard question.
I mean, some of it is just we're so hyper focused on our own path and our own work or our own grant funding or our own projects. But, staffing, just finding the time. I mean, I'm probably literally involved in at least 10 to 12 different coalitions or crisis work groups in the community. We're duplicating in a lot of spaces. We have this group meeting here and this group meeting here and this group meeting here, and all of them have similar goals. And we really need to, in my personal opinion, work on consolidating efforts because we're just all burning ourselves too thin because we're so spread out, and we've got to communicate and we've got to start consolidating efforts.
Well, and as you guys see on your screen, just a little bit of a write-up on what the CARE Collective is all about. And take me through some of the partners that are on here, if you could.
Yeah, so Calm Waters Counseling and Resource Center, and then like Lovejoy Legacy Counseling and Wellness. Those are both private practice. So I had said earlier that we already do a lot of referrals to our larger, like Centerstone, Chestnut, some of those providers. These are private practice, but they also do accept certain, obviously, insurances, but they do some sliding scale and things like that as well.
Cool, that's nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. They really are. They have a large amount of counselors that have very different backgrounds as well. Everything from like trauma to people that have worked with previously incarcerated, sexual assault. I mean, just substance use, kids across the board. Luminous Life Coaching is Sherry McCready. She does a lot more focused on relationships, which is a
very
huge.
Important.
It's huge because it's not just romantic or partner relationships, but friendships, co-workers, how to exist in those spaces.
I saw, not to cut you off, I saw something that was really kind of damning the other day, that social media is really crippling relationships, especially for my generation, but all across the board. It's very fascinating.
Across the board. And I would say this is not not data driven, but from my perspective, relationships are really the trigger for a lot of mental health and a lot of substance use.
Why so?
You know, especially like relapse, it seems like it's almost connected to a relationship trigger at some point. Or when things start getting a little rocky in your relationships and where you feel safest and where you feel belonging,
I get you.
And those kinds of things, it really gets you in your head, and that's when you start to kind of, potentially spiral. It's not the only cause, don't get me wrong, but it's a big one for sure.
Well, I totally can see that. And now, just kind of going back down this list, Megan, Metro East, Every Survivor Counts.
Yeah,
Take me through
they
this.
are fantastic. So they specifically focus on victims of sexual assault. They have very confidential services, just a fabulous organization that we have been collaborating with and in contact with since the get-go. They're housed in Riverbend Family Ministries, and so is Refuge, which is the next one on the list.
Aaron's a great person.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, unfortunately, I know both of those organizations do have waiting lists because the need is so significant, but we're really trying to do our part to kind of help hopefully reduce that and be able to kind of put people in different spaces even until there is an opening. And then the last one I'm excited about, which is the Community Reach. Their founder is originally from Alton. Right now, they had been based in St. Louis, but they have some counselors that are now licensed in Illinois.
Wonderful.
Best news, though, they accept Medicaid.
Whoa.
Which is huge.
When
because
does that? No, that's rare.
Talk about barriers, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about bringing them on and then partnering in this because a lot of the individuals that we're assisting, especially that are unhoused in those spaces, are on Medicaid and don't have private insurance. And so, I mean, it is a hurdle for anybody that's attempted and tried to go through this to get Medicaid approval in Illinois. Right. And a lot of people just don't even start the process because it's just so difficult and there's so many hoops to jump through and the expense. And I know they even contracted an outside, person to do this process for them because it's so cumbersome. And so
that's cool, though.
I'm excited about that because we can get a lot more people services.
That's like literally incredible. That's the best news you've given because it's like, well, what the hell are all these services for if you can't use them,
Yes.
And I've always felt bad for that individual where it's like they're right in that in-between portion too, where it's like they could qualify for maybe a different insurance, but they're in that kind of...
Yeah, and I mean, most of our Medicaid, agencies are just so taxed. Many of them have very long waiting lists, and Refuge and Metro East, their services are entirely free for anyone who participates. And so that's why their waiting lists and things are so long.
I didn't realize it was all free.
We've got to do more to reduce barriers, to get more, people accepting Medicaid, doing sliding scales and things like that to be able to address some of these individuals, or we're just never going to be able to get them the help that they need. So,
well, Megan, I'm just impressed with all that you've been able to do and the partnerships you've been able to develop. And what's anything else coming down the pipeline before I move forward?
I mean, other than, just take a look at the Care Collective, check out those couple events. We have some more things coming up in September as well. Our Facebook page, honestly, at this point, is the best place to go to for not only just announcements, but that's where we're creating our events. We're doing our flyers. We're on Instagram also.
Well, you have very important information.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, August the 13th, 3 days ago, you posted about Fentanyl 101 and what you need to know.
Yeah. I just posted that... there's a new behavioral health walk-in clinic in Maryville that just opened in August. So, I mean, you go to our Facebook page, you're not only getting, like, what's going on. In fact, very rarely you're getting what's going on with Sacred.
You're right.
You're getting what's going on with all of our other local providers. What kind of educational content can we put out there to just know, give you some more information on just educating yourself and how to advocate for yourself or others that you love. So we're, again, very much that resource hub of just trying to educate and advocate in the community.
Well, and... Wow. I mean, just all these things you're posting, this is very good information.
Yeah.
Did your wish list announcement, are we getting there?
The wish list, we've gotten quite a few donations. Very excited about that. We had some local organizations, too, that stepped up and say, hey, we'll be a collection site for you. So if you go to our wish list, it can be shipped directly to us. But we also have a collection site at Germania, Hainer, Sure Chiropractic, Rep. Amy Ellick's office, and some other people are volunteering to do that, too, so you can drop off resources if you'd like.
I love it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Megan, keep up the great work, and I'm excited. We're going to work on our little project here.
Yes.
We're going to get this
going.
going.
I'm excited about that.
And
be good.
I have it right here on the computer.
All right. All right.
It keeps falling off, but that way I can take it home and get some stuff done. But Megan, keep up the great work. We'll link everything in a write-up on RiverBender.com. Sacred Spaces of Care on Facebook. And what's your website?
SacredSpacesOfCare.org.
See, I was going to say .com. Glad I asked.
No, you're good.
We'll take a little bit of a pause here on this Friday morning. The second anniversary of the show continues right after this.